Hi everyone, in this video we're going to do a quick review of how to solve a quadratic equation by completing the square. So I wrote out some steps for you. The first step is to get all the variable terms to one side and all of the constant terms to the other side. Then you're going to add b over 2 squared to both sides. Now just a reminder, the b number is the number that's attached to the plain variable. Okay, so it's going to be this term here. This is the b number, the 4. Then you're going to factor the side that has your x's, and you're going to simplify the side over here. And then you're going to finish by solving for x. So let me show you how it works in this first example. This already is set up for step 1. All of the variables are on one side, all of the constants are on the other. Now, on this side, I have to divide 4 divided by 2 and square it and add it on there. So x squared plus 4x. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I'm going to add 2 squared to this side. Now, I can't just add it to one side because remember, this is an equation. So I have to add it to this other side as well. So plus 2 squared. Now, this side needs to be factored. Okay, so I keep the x from the first term, I keep the plus from the middle term, and I keep the 2 from the last term. Because remember, the whole goal of this is to create a perfect square trinomial on this side. And that's why we call it completing the square, because we're creating a perfect square trinomial. So that's why it's factored in this way. This is a perfect square trinomial. Okay, and it's going to equal 10 plus 4, which is 14. Now I need to solve for x. I'm on to this last thing, solve for x. So I'll do the square root on both sides. So x plus 2 equals positive or negative square root of 14. And then I'll subtract 2 on both sides. So x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 14. And that is the final answer for this. Okay, so there are actually two answers, negative 2 plus the square root of 14 and negative 2 minus the square root of 14. Let me show you another example. Up here, I have x squared minus 8x minus 14 equals 0. So for step 1, I need to add 14 on both sides. So I have x squared minus 8x equals 14. Now I have to add b over 2 squared to both sides. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so I'm adding 4 squared on both sides. Now you'll notice I did ignore the sign on it because it's technically going to be a negative 4 squared, but when you square negative, it turns positive. So that's why I was able to ignore that sign. Okay, so 4 squared on both sides. Now I'll factor. You keep the x. You keep the minus sign from the middle term, and you keep the 4 from the last term, and the whole thing is squared. Over here, I have 14 plus 16, because 4 squared is 16. That comes out to be 30. Now I'll solve for x. I have to do the square root on both sides. So x minus 4 equals the positive or negative square root of 30. I should check to see if 30 can be simplified. 30 is 5 times 6, and 6 is 3 times 2. None of these have pairs, so it cannot be simplified. And then I'll just add 4 on both sides. So x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 30. Okay, so that is the final answer for this example. Again, let me know if you have any questions about anything. If you need more practice on this, let me know. I can get you more practice.